Darren Bondar, you've been a busy man. You've been traveling widely. I was terrified you weren't going to make it, but here you are. This gentleman has more scars on his back for having helped build what has major contribution to this industry through Hemp. We all watch you carefully. I'm really looking forward to what you have to say. So come on up and join us. Let's have a hand for Darren Bondar. Thanks,
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here today. When asked to speak, I didn't really know what to say because I'm probably like the least knowledgeable hemp guy in the room. And I've only really been in the industrial hemp business for the last couple of years and still learning from all of you and all the conferences and you know, the various industry connections that we've made. So I'm humbled to be here. I was asked to give a keynote on what I've learned, I guess, over the last couple of years and what I see the opportunities are in the hemp industry. I'm not so sure that I have a full global perspective, but I will end by telling you how bullish I am on Alberta and the opportunity that we've got in front of us. So while I was doing a little bit of research and thinking about, okay, like how did I even get here? I'm like the last guy that you would expect to be in the agriculture industry. So doing some research, I was talking to my mom. I was like, well, I knew my grandfather was in the meat packing business in the 30s in Calgary, which was back in the day called the Katchen Brothers. And that later became Calgary Packers, so they were meat packers. And actually the facility where they used to have the abattoir today is the Crossroads Market. And it's the only last abattoir in the city of Calgary that still exists. So I thought that was pretty cool and maybe gives me some, you know, some reputability as an expert in agriculture. And then also my other great-great-grandfather, I found this on some letterhead, Bondar's Hide and Fur Company, Hides, Furs, Wool, Seneca, Root, and Farm Produce. So I do have some deep Alberta roots and certainly maybe a little bit of history in agriculture. And actually, that's myself back in the late 70s, early 80s. I used to I had an Uncle Morris and Auntie Zelda had a farm out in High River. And I used to go down there and I remember branding and fixing fences, playing in the haystacks. That was my first introduction to prairie oysters. So, you know, I did have a little bit of experience there and really fond memories of the farm. And then in the 90s, I actually, just east of Red Deer, used to go to a summer camp out on Pine Lake. And in 98 and 99, I was 24 years old, and they made me the camp director. I was in charge of 200 kids and 90 staff. But we had a 128-acre facility, which we had to manage, and there were horses, and we were in charge of the horses. So there is some agricultural history in my background, but certainly very far from the hemp industry. I actually started to really notice the hemp industry about 30 years ago, the time when it became legal in Canada. But I was a little bit confused because I was much more interested in the other side of the hemp industry, which is the recreational part of the industry. And if you wanted me to talk about that, I'd say I'm probably one of the most experienced in the room. Probably second to my partner in crime here, Cecil. Sorry, Cece. We've been rolling together for about 25, 30 years and running many businesses together. So anyway, after the summer camp and my agricultural became, my agriculture time was ended, I became, I guess I'm a professional entrepreneur and CEO at this point, because 25 years ago I started my first business, which was called Watch It, and that's really where I learned how to be an entrepreneur. Everything from retail to branding to manufacturing to financing to run out of money to raising money to running out of money to getting kicked in the head to celebrating. You know, that's the entrepreneurial journey on a daily basis. So that was a really good 20-year run. And then in 2017, this guy Justin Trudeau, who we don't like too much in this province, but the one good thing that I think he did was introduce recreational cannabis. So it was kind of like my worlds collided. I was this expert in retail. Recreational cannabis was about to become legal in Canada, and we started Spirit Leaf. which we built into like 4 years basically through COVID and through against all odds, with a huge Alberta advantage of a privatized liquor system here and a franchise system. We built over 116 retail stores across Canada, 50 cities, 6 provinces. We brought that company public, and finally, after 20 plus years of grinding, I hit that entrepreneurial dream, and we sold that company for $131 million back in 2021. So that was a great outcome, because 4 years ago, 4 years before that, we were broke, fully leveraged, and filing a bankruptcy with the watch company. So that's the entrepreneurial journey, and I think that's what kind of makes you a professional entrepreneur after experiencing all of that. So I took a month off. I probably should have taken a couple of years off. But I took a month off and started thinking about, okay, what's my next entrepreneurial journey going to be? And I saw an opportunity in like literally searching through the yellow pages around Google businesses for sale in Calgary. And I saw an opportunity for an industrial hemp processing facility. I was like, okay, well, this could be good. It hits many of my criteria that I had as an entrepreneur. One, I had to be close to my house because I just wanted convenience, which was one, but also high margins. You can buy fiber for relatively cheap. It was agricultural waste, and there was a lot of it in Alberta because we've got a great seed industry here, but not a lot of processors, particularly in southern Alberta, were online. And I just saw something, and I saw an industry that was starting to grow. There was a lot of research and development over 30 years in Alberta, in particular at Initech and all the great work that Jan and your team does there. But I felt that there was a need for some more entrepreneurial, perhaps expertise, and guys that maybe have my abilities of strategy and branding and scaling a business to see if we can make a go of it. So January 1st of 2021, Brittany from Canadian Greenfield Technologies came over. Brittany's our general manager. I just want to shout out to her. She's up for 2 Ag Awards at the Women's Agriculture event coming up in March. Anyway, I don't know what Brittany thinks of me. She runs the plant and really does everything and saves us on a daily basis. So there she is cutting the ribbon. And for the last 2 years, we've been involved in the industrial hemp processing business, learning from many of you, participating with many of you, and here we are. So our mission really is quite clear, is to be at the forefront of the next evolution in agriculture by harnessing the immense potential of industrial hemp. And we aim to do this by innovating the global hemp carbon industry and by utilizing advanced technology to process hemp at scale. And we're creating and producing a diverse range of hemp-based commercial and consumer products for a healthier and more sustainable planet. So it's no surprise to anybody in this room, we all know that hemp has a variety of uses. We just heard a great use case for straws, which is very fascinating to me. I'd like to discuss that a little bit more. And also we know that hemp is a huge carbon sequestering plant. And that was always in the back of my mind, and I think really key to being able to make not only our processing business successful, but the entire industrial hemp side successful. So the carbon sequestration is really key, and something that I'll talk about in a few minutes. But it is, as we know, capable of generating, or absorbing 2 times more carbon than a forest. It regenerates in 4 months. And hemp is really probably the top sequestration crop that you can grow. So how does our business model work? And I'm happy to share this now as we're about 30 days from we've announced a go public transaction. I like doing that as a CEO. I think it brings acknowledgement and reputation to an industry and a company. So everything I'm saying here, we're now doing it with my pants down, I guess. You'll see how successful we are or how we fail or whatever it is. We're in the public eye, so I'm happy to share our business model and everything that we're doing. So the first thing we do is we contract farmers who are growing hemp or who want to grow hemp, and we sign them up for our carbon sequestration program. So that's really key. And then as the plant is growing, and actually this year we'll be able to provide our farmers with the visibility right online. You can actually see your fields that before the hemp is grown, and you can see carbon actually emitting from a bare field. And then as the hemp continues to grow over the cycle, we can actually accurately measure, report, and verify the sequestration, and you can see it on the screen. Like literally, the technology is incredible that we're using. So while the hemp is growing, we're measuring it, we're reporting it, and then eventually we obtain that biomass from the farmers after they've cultivated for seed and send it to our good friends at Blue Sky or Manitoba Harvest. And then we're able to take that fiber and we bring it to our plant in Calgary, and we process it through the state-of-the-art system called the Hemp Train. And we actually get 4 output streams. So in addition to the fiber and the hurd, we also get a micro hurd and a green microfiber. And then we take all of those 4 output streams and we put them into a variety of consumer products, which I'll show you. And then simultaneously, we work on selling the carbon credits to companies that need to offset their emissions. That helps us and it helps the farmers. We need the margin, the farmers need additional revenue, so it's a win-win. And then we sell all of our products through various retail channels. This is the system we use. There's lots of videos on it. You can come to Calgary. This was a prototype facility that we purchased, and we're just in the process of expanding. We're in for we got a 6,500 square foot new building, and with the new hemp train system, we anticipate tripling our capacity here by the end of the year. And then these are the products that we were offering. So I saw some products at retail. Dan does a great job, has some really good distribution. But we had these unique output streams that we wanted to figure out how we were going to get them in front of the consumer. And I'm all about strategy and branding and marketing. How can we bring the hemp industry so people really understand it? Because whenever you say hemp to somebody, they think rope and clothes, right? That's what the consumer thinks today. But so we were able to develop these products. We have the Hemp Fresco, which are our food preservation pads, which use hurd, our size-specified herb, which will actually extend the life of your fruit and vegetables for 2 to 3 weeks longer than without it. So really an innovative product, and it was the product that I was most excited about, and the reason I actually bought the company. Little did I know that Safeway and Sobeys probably don't want to sell that because they don't want to extend people's fruit and vegetables. I don't know, maybe that's just me being a little bitter that they won't carry us nationally, but anyway, the Hemp Fresco is a very great product. We also have our own cat litter called the Hempy Cat, our own soil enrichment, our garden mulch, which we're just going to have for sale for this first garden season and is actually really selling well, and an absorption product, and of course, animal bedding. So those are our consumer products, which are all great. We've got great traction at retail, and I'll show you some of the retailers that we're in. But the other product that I'm really excited about is our hurd, which is basically animal bedding. Anybody in this room can put 2 and 2 together. But we've repackaged it as hurd for hempcrete. It's size specified, it's dust free, and really makes an optimal mix for hempcrete. And why we're excited about that, and I kind of felt, some of those times as an entrepreneur, you're like, okay, what's the win going to be today? When the US announced, of all places, January 1st, 2024, hempcrete is going to be allowed in the US building code. That was a game changer for us as a company, as we feel we are going to have a huge distribution opportunity in the US market just selling hurd for hempcrete. It's also unbelievable to me, and I'll quip about it a little bit, that it still hasn't been added to the Canadian building codes. So if there's anybody who knows how to do that here, that would be a great thing, and we'd love to talk to you about it. So hurd for hempcrete. We have a great growing list of retail partners, and establishing our distribution was really important. We're appreciated to the UFA here, who heard me pitch at a pitch contest for our company, and they picked us up in all 45 plus stores. PV Mart's a great retailer, and also online has been very, very successful for us, and we're really focused. We just opened Tractor Supply, which I think is 6,500 stores. So it was really getting that distribution set. We're actually pretty set with distribution now. We've been chasing orders since practically October, November, where we can't catch up. So until we triple our plant capacity here, we're in a really good place with our distribution, and it helps set us up for success and help set the entire business model. But the truth is after doing this for a couple of years now, and we're in year 2, and you can go see our financial statements online, I don't know that I can make money just on manufacturing. like, unless you are a huge scale manufacturer and we'll triple our capacity and we'll do pretty well, maybe a $5 to $10 million a year business just in selling products, it doesn't really excite me. It's not a scalable business, and I'm not even sure how sustainable it is. And you can see from our financials, we've lost $1 million in our first year, $1 million plus in our second year. And I'm not scared of that as an entrepreneur, but eventually you got to turn the table and make money. So the way that, and the opportunity that I saw was always in this carbon credit, but nobody's really been able to monetize it and figure it out, at least in the hemp industry, based on my knowledge. And that's where we finally found the opportunity that we think is transformational, not only for our company, but I do believe the entire industry, and it's something that we're sharing openly. And another reason that we're going to be public is, this shouldn't be owned by one thing. We fully feel that this is a technology that is transformative for the entire industry, and really on a global scale as we all fight climate change. So the technology that we have and what we're able to do is we're actually able to accurately measure, report, and verify the carbon sequestration of industrial hemp. And the way we're able to do that is very science-based. There's been a lot of theory out there, and you read, the average plant can absorb 5 tons of carbon, or the average acre can absorb 5 tons of carbon, but we're actually able to figure this out using ground truth satellite data, like literally satellite systems, to pinpoint on a farmer's field, flex towers, which are your meteorological towers that exist everywhere across the world as well. And through this technology, and then some AI and an algorithm and smart scientists, I'm not the technical CEO kind, but we've actually really been able to figure this out. And last year, our first pilot year, we had 4 farmers sign up across Alberta and about 14 globally, because we're able to do this globally just by using satellites. And we got some great results, but we actually got some really accurate results. So the average sequestration from the hemp grown here was 3.6 tons of CO2 per acre, so a little less than the 5 tons that have been thrown around by the industry. But we're very happy with the results. We also think and believe it was the first instance of a very precise calculation for a hemp sequestration rate. And the farms did vary a little bit, and over time we feel that we're going to be able to collect the data from our farms on a global basis to figure out if the objective is carbon sequestration, what are the optimal conditions to be able to sequester that carbon. So our farmers, and just to give you an example, with 500, just a little over 500 acres at 4.25 tons per acre, if we're able to sell those carbon credits for $35 a metric ton, which is kind of a base level for that farmer would receive an extra $33,000 in revenue. So it's pretty good. It's better than zero, and for us, who receives the same part as the processor, that additional $33,000 in revenue, that's very significant when you start talking about 5,000 to 10,000 acres a year that we're going to process. That all of a sudden makes this business scalable. It makes the manufacturing side make sense, and I believe that it's a great opportunity overall for the entire industry. So for the farmers, we know it's a diversified revenue stream. We know the benefits of hemp for, as part of the crop rotation. And we think this is a great opportunity for farmers to participate even further, where perhaps they were previously only selling their seed. Now, for processors, they've got a market for their fiber and an additional revenue stream with no risk by just sequestering hemp. So that's the business model that we are set on. And this is what we plan to do on a global scale, particularly in terms of the carbon credit sequestration. Our technology allows us to sign up farmers globally. And our goal for this year is to have 200,000 acres under management globally. And we think that there is no better place than right here in Alberta to continue to sign up farmers to be part of this program. And when I see, and I've been talking about these farmers globally, and Cecil's been talking to farmers, and Brittany, particularly in the US, there is no better place to be, and we have such a huge advantage in Alberta. Federally, we're legal. every day you read about a US mess, a different state, this, CBD, that. Like, my God, what a disaster. They had their lowest hemp growth rate, I think, in decades. Is that right, Jan's? In decades, like 20,000 acres or something growing all last year in the US, whatever the number was. We grew more in Alberta than the entire US market. So that's incredible. In Calgary, at least, we're very close for being able to export. It's a little disappointing to me, but business is business. 80% of our sales are coming from the US market. We get no's from companies like Canadian Tires, who should be stewards in leadership because we're in the hemp industry. Canadian Tire wouldn't carry our hemp straw or hemp garden mulch. So 80% of our business is coming from the US market. So we've got a great opportunity to export from here. We've got a favorable climate. There's so much expertise here. Our farmers are some of the most, the biggest experts in the world, particularly when it comes to hemp farming. We generally have very supportive government policies. I talk about the proximity to markets. We've got a diversification in agriculture. And really just there is growing demand for hemp. And us as an industry and all of us collectively, I think we've got this opportunity to really shout from the rooftops about the Alberta advantage. And we plan to do that with our Toronto Stock Exchange listing and just talk about Alberta and talk about hemp as much as we can. So that's what I'm very, very excited about. And of course, all the research and innovation that's being done. So we just need more entrepreneurs in the system, more farmers to join our carbon credit program. And I think we have a really a great opportunity for success and to scream from the rooftops and find the opportunities that exist right before our eyes. So how can you get involved with us? We've got some things. I laid them out here. And I'll be as tactful as possible on a couple of these things. But farmers and processors, please, if you want to participate in our carbon program, we have an opportunity to work with you. And we'd really like to hear from you. We've got a booth set up. Our deadline for this year is March 15th, March 31st, maybe a little bit of wee-bay, but March 15th to sign up so that we can start monitoring your fields in April. Anybody here from ATB today? All right, ATB. Anton's not here, but we need as much support as you can. The capital markets guys out in Toronto, we'd like to see them pay a little bit more attention to agriculture in Alberta. But we've always had a great partnership with ATB, and we look forward to your ongoing support of the hemp industry. Anybody here from the Alberta tier regulations who's part of that? So that's the cap and trade system. Oil and gas companies can buy offsets, right? How is it effing possible that there is not an agricultural protocol accepted today in the Alberta tier system? So our goal is to have our hemp protocol added to that system so that all of our farmers can benefit for the stewardship of their land. The Alberta government continue to support the Alberta Hemp Association. Congratulations to everybody who put this together. It's really great to see so many faces here and really a strong organization. We need a strong Alberta Hemp Association, so anything that we can do to help from industry, we're here, but also we want to continue to lean on the Alberta government. The Canadian building codes, does anybody know how to do that, to get hempcrete added to the building code? Okay, we got Russ, so Russ is going to help us get that done. I'm sure that'll be done tomorrow. But that would be a huge thing, hempcrete. Our houses should be built with hempcrete. Why are we still using toxic materials as insulation? It just makes no sense. Yes, if anybody has some building materials that they've developed and want to commercialize, we'd like to talk to you. Not specific to our company. And if none of these boxes fit and you're like, I don't know, well, we'll be trading in about 30 days on the Toronto Stock Exchange. That's the one entrepreneur bucket list thing that I have left, is to ring that damn bell. So March something or other, I'm not allowed to say the date, but I'd say in about 30 days to the day today. You can keep an eye out for us. I know, public company CEO and a little bit loose. So that is Hemp Alta. I'm happy to take some questions. I'm a non-technical CEO, so please don't ask me technical stuff. But anything that I can answer, I'm happy to. And thank you for taking the time to listen today. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Hi, Mark Smith. What I know about carbon credits, everybody here probably knows 10 times more than me.
Myself as well.
Okay.
Yes.
And what I do know has just left me more and more confused.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one thing that I do have is a brother that knows a lot more than me and is probably a lot smarter. And he was involved in insurance. And one of the things that he's been dealing with is working with Lloyd's SAD. Is that
Yeah,
it? I don't
yeah.
know. Anyway, one of the insurance companies. And I guess they're developing a protocol for insuring carbon credits. Now, is that, do you have to depend on government? Could we do it privately and then
Yeah,
insure
I think
carbon credits and get?
yeah, the carbon credit industry is really fascinating. I mean, we feel it's going to grow and be massive as carbon. Look, we're in climate change, whether you believe in it or not. It's real. We're in Edmonton today, and it's +10 in February or whatever. Yeah, insurance is something that can be done where a buyer of carbon credits wants to ensure that the credits that they're buying are real. Or else if their carbon credits are not real, then they still pay the tax and get penalized for it. So that is definitely a part of the carbon credit industry. For the hemp industry, just to give a little bit more background on it, hemp is the #1 carbon sequestering crop. Aaron knows this, everybody knows this has been talked about. It's how do you actually measure, report, and verify it? And that's been the challenge for the industry as a whole. And that's not just the hemp industry, but the carbon credit industry. So what the carbon credit industry is looking for is accuracy and transparency and real valuable carbon credits. And when you put them into something durable like hempcrete, which sequesters the carbon for 100 years, that is one of the most valuable carbon credits that a company can purchase. So when a company that needs to offset their emissions feels confident in the technology, in the company that's representing the credits, and it's properly being sequestered, that is what makes a valuable carbon credit versus replacing stoves in Indonesia or whatever, some of the protocols they got in trouble with over the last 12 to 24 months. So hopefully that provides a little bit of background on the carbon credit industry. Yes.
Hi, Darren. Thank you for coming and sharing your information, your experiences with this group. I felt it was really important. I've been pumping your tires on the whole carbon story for quite a while.
Thank you.
I have a long history personally with that segment of the industry, in agriculture in general. Measuring and monitoring is critical. I'm so delighted to hear that you've got some technology that's going to address that, because that's one of the big gaps. The other one is price discovery. And I noticed you threw up a $35 a ton number there, like that's it. It's a one price fits all kind of market. Yeah. It shouldn't be. It's a commodity.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Is there, a place where that's going to start to be better discovered in terms of value? There's constantly change in that, supply and demand, essentially. And I think the demand grossly exceeds the supply. So, it should be more than that. Yeah. And I think there's a great opportunity there. But just talk a little bit about the price discovery of that carbon credit and where you see that going.
Yeah, so the carbon credits on the voluntary market, which are different than the regulated market, like the tier system I was talking about, vary from anywhere from a couple dollars a ton and far north of $100 a ton. So for us in our consumer packaged goods, like animal bedding, the carbon's only sequestered for about 10 to 15 years, arguably. And those credits could be worth today about $35 a ton based on what we feel that we can get for those. The value of the credits continue to increase the longer the carbon is sequestered. So in something like hempcrete or fiber that's used for insulation or biochar, where the carbon's actually sequestered for 100 years, the value of those credits is far more significant, north of $100 a ton. So our interest as a company, our long-term goal is, I don't think I'm going to be selling hemp frescoes for very long, but I do think I'm going to be in the hempcrete business and the insulation business, because as a manufacturer, you need to realize the highest price per dollar. And I think we've done that with our consumer packaged goods. I can get $25 for a bag of fiber, But when I can get $25 for an insulation panel, and then I can get $100 a ton for the credits, that becomes the most lucrative part. And we do feel, based on my view as a CEO and my research, that the value of those credits is only going to go like this. It's the hockey stick that every entrepreneur dreams of, and that's why I'm very bullish of the overall opportunity in the carbon credit industry, and for hemp being that #1 sequestering crop, and for the alternative uses that it provides, which is essential to generating a carbon credit. So hempcrete replaces traditional insulation, and that's the additionality, which is the key word in the carbon credit industry, that's going to increase the value of those credits.
And also keep in mind that that value is created by you as the processor, not by, you know, somebody who's a farmer. Some of that credit certainly deservedly goes to the farmer, but some of it goes to the processors as well, and there has to be a sharing of that.
Yeah, and look, this is the way I've done business. I'm a 50-50 guy, so we are splitting whether we're selling a $100 credit because we add the value by putting it into hempcrete. We split the carbon credits 50-50 with our farmers.
Perfect. So my last comment is, what can the AHA do to help you be successful and help everybody here be successful in terms of carbon trading?
Well, I think I think just all us being in the room today is key. I think just us continuing to shout from the rooftops about how competitive advantage we are as Alberta, so that our government listens, that there's nature-based solutions right here. We don't need to spend billions of dollars on carbon capture technology, or maybe we do, but there's nature-based solutions from our farmers, like are right in front of us, that need to be recognized and accepted. And the time is now. I mean, we're either going to miss the opportunity or we're going to hit it. I believe we're going to hit it, and when I say hit it, like, I like to go fast. So like, I'm talking the next 12 to 18 months are going to be game time. So let's just stay strong as an association, work together, and I believe that all of our businesses will be better for it.